Here we go. We got the leg attachment, the leg press attachment on the Smith bar on the Landmark Athletic TC-Q10. I call it the TC-Q10W. I got the W edition. It stands for wobbly. Now, the biggest thing that I have learned from my experience now with gym equipment is when the hook is on like the Smith bar, that's bad. You want the hooks to be on the equipment, little hooks here, here, here. And then there's just a little peg on the Smith bar that hits the hook when it's going down. If the peg in the bottom of the hook is, like almost like a fish scale. So if the peg hits the bottom of the hook on your press up, it just tink, tink, and goes right past it. No big deal. On this thing constantly is trying to hook and hit these. So it's dunk, 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 unless you really, really rotate it out. And the issue with this, so now rather than just concentrating on your lift, you're either ding, 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 or hooking, on the way down, dink, and then you're like, oh, fuck, or oh, frick. And the other thing is when I turn this Smith bar, these weights want to turn. On my old Smith machine, those stayed still, and I didn't have to turn though. Like when I turn this, I have to turn the momentum of this weight when I'm turning this bar. It's so strange. It's such a weird feeling. It's like wheels on an axle. On my other Smith, I had a Hoist Smith machine before this, and on every Smith machine I've ever worked out in every gym ever in my life, this phenomenon has never been a thing. Oh, and these are starting to slide off a teeny bit. Not a lot, but my old Smith machine, no need for collars. This one, you just got to watch them and keep pushing them like probably every couple of days. It's not like every couple of sets, but they do slowly kind of jiggle out. Probably because I got the W edition and it wobbles back and forth. And then these things, and they wobble out. But I don't understand. Well, this cheap metal, you can hear it. Listen to that. That's about as thin as a Dodge. What's the car that they all have? The Dodge Demon. About as thin as a Dodge Demon fender. We call that Chinesium. It's just right there next to magnesium on the elemental chart. So we'll push these on a little bit. Okay. I don't understand what this little peg is for. This was manufactured on here with a lot of purpose and welding, and they put a little plastic piece on it. However, I don't know what that's for. I haven't run into a need for that. Maybe it hits this, but this would hit that. So, but this hits this bumper first. This would hit this before anything hits that. So I'm unsure. Does anybody know what that is? Why that's there? It's on both sides. I don't know if there's another attachment that clicks onto that. But at any rate, rather than concentrating on your lift, you're now the whole time like watching this. I'm always looking to my right and left because I can hear tink, 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 it starts, and I'm like, And so anyways, I have not a lot of weight on here. I have a 45 and a 35 on each side. The Smith bar also, like the actual dimensions or the circumference rather, is really tiny. Like this bar, okay, I can feel that, sure. This bar, okay, yeah, that feels good in my hand. This bar, sure. This little dinky thing running across here, gay. Look at that thing. It's tiny. It's like when I'm 9 back in the day and I got a Huffy. It's like a Huffy handlebar. I'm going to write Huffy on that. They're probably getting those from Huffy. So I'm going to do a couple leg presses. And you can watch the hooks and the whole thing wiggle and wobble. And this is not, I mean, I know that these things are the, oh God. Oh. See that wobbling? Look at that thing. And the hook wants to hit all the time, unless I kick it way out. And now in this position where I have the hook away, my toes are so high and my heel is so low. I don't know how well you can see that. But it's the feeling down here is that it's going to slide off. So you can see that Smith bar moving around. And, oh God. So it's kind of hard to do all this and hold the phone. But if I bottom that thing out and try to wiggle my feet, the machine's pretty solid because this is now a lower cross member because it's bottomed out on these. As soon as I get it off of there, you can see that Smith bar just moving. And clanking. So imagine, and I'm pretty low, and I have this hooked. Okay, so I have this hooked right now, so to eliminate movement of the Smith bar. Otherwise, we'd be going all the way down to here. Now imagine getting up further into the middle of that and trying to do a squat with that Smith bar going, ooh. This thing and the side to side, like, whoa, the whole thing is wiggling like this. But the biggest thing is that Smith bar just wobbling in there. This thing, I'm calling this the Smith bar, but I guess really that's the Smith bar. This is more the Smith track or the Smith, who knows what, side post. I've never had to identify that. In the manual, I think it called it, in the Chinese manual, in the page like 38 or 40, it called it the main insurance group something. Main insurance group pole or main insurance group something, like potato. I don't know. I'm like, a main insurance group. Okay, awesome. So actual manual to put this together was probably 0% helpful. I mean, there were some black and white, like 1982 photocopied pictures included in the manual, which was kind of handy. This entire company, Landmark Athletics, I have his email. He's admitted in the email that they are not trying to, there's no claims that this is made in America, but it's Landmark Athletics, and it's all like red, white, and blue and awesome, and it's here in America, in Kentucky or somewhere. And so your assumption, or my assumption rather, was that this thing, good Lord. And here's the other thing too that you can't really see in the camera, but this bar, like across here, like one side will like wobble up and down and up and down. Like this thing is like, it's just, this bar is so teensy and little under there. It's just amazing. And so when you engage it, like look at the plate. This is just wobbly. I've never experienced. Oh, there goes the clip or the hook. I've never experienced. Oh, there it is again. So you got to tip your toes really high to get that hook away. Because as you come down, your toes want to come back. You know, it's just natural, you know, and then you're hitting again. It's ridiculous. This thing's ridiculous. And the guy did admit that these aren't trying to be American Well, they're not they're not claiming that it's made in America. And then if you want to go to setting 1 here, or position 1, that's not going to happen because these 2 pulleys run into each other. See? No matter what I do, if I turn this all the way out, that doesn't go. And I can't lock into position 1. You can see the 1 right there. And if I go up, bang, there's 2. So I don't get the lowest, which, you know, it's only a couple of inches, but ask your girlfriend what a couple of inches means to her. And then ask a guy working out what a couple of inches means to him, you know, when you're running a tape around some biceps. Or ask me what a couple of inches means. I'm 6'2", and I picked this machine because it was the tallest one for pull-ups. And to get these pulleys up as high as I could for maximum, you know, full range. And so, do I want to get number 1? Do I need it? Do I need to complain about it? Apparently, but do I need it? It's only, well, I mean, they're 6 inches apart. Excuse me. They're 6 inches apart, and I know a lot of people who'd love an additional 6 inches. So I am just saying, when I'm, you know, down here doing my bicep curls, I can just take an extra step away and do a bicep curl. Now, the foot thing, I would just assume you sit on the floor, put that on level 1, and go ahead and pull. This attachment right here, by the way, does not come with the system. So you don't get this. I got this off Amazon, and this thing is like $17, and it is fully in every way awesome. It's huge. I have XXL hands when buying gloves, and there's plenty of room in here between the 2 weld points to get my hand in there, and the grip on it is phenomenal. And these right here are about as big as that whole bar is right there. If I take that thing off of there, I can show you how tiny and silly this bar is. I don't know about that. Every other Smith machine, the Smith bar itself, is always a little bigger. And when this is a little bigger, squats are just kind of nice. This sumbitch cuts into my neck. So I got the pad, which also ordered on Amazon, and fantastic. Velcro's on and off. Super easy. There's just a Velcro on each side, and it snaps on and off. There's a loop on it to hang it, which I should be hanging it. Boom. This is kind of nice. It looks crooked because the sticker was put on crooked. And honestly, if you're buying this machine, you don't need that. I mean, unless you've never lifted weights in your whole entire life. And then I don't think you're going to buy a $4,500. I got this on special on Black Friday for like $3,600, I think, with shipping. And it didn't come with all these weights. I had all these weights laying around with my old system and my old gym. And anyway, I don't think anybody's going to put this huge thing. And this is tall. This is 90 some inches. I want to say 93 maybe. I can't remember. But when I went to order it, the first question the guy had was, where are you putting it and how tall is your ceiling? Because this isn't going to fit everywhere. And I told him it's going in my vaulted ceiling in our garage. And, you know, we got it going on out here. And anyway, just trying to be healthy and trying to buy gym equipment that's both quality and a good price. And this thing, I mean, I'm stuck with it now. You know, it's something like 1,200 pounds assembled without the additional weights. And And they said if I wanted to return it, I'd have to put it all back in the original packaging, which it wasn't in the original packaging when I got it because none of the bags were marked, none of the boxes were marked, and none of the pieces were marked. So in the manual, it would say, get piece L2 and get piece R2 and connect them to pieces 37 and 38. And then none of it was marked. So I would just have to look at the little black and white photocopied picture and then go to like all the parts and try to find what looked like the picture. And it's not rocket science, you know. It went together, in my opinion, it went together fairly easily. There were just some things that were overlooked. There's some poor craftsmanship here and there, like these horns, the weight horns that hold the weights. That's a ton of weight on there. And the more weight out here, the more leverage it's going to have here. So I don't quite understand the rubber bumper having to be that thick. I would have put a rubber washer here so that people could get the weights on closer. But I guess the idea there is if they put a spacer here, you can only get so many pounds on here. Versus if this was really thin, you could get a whole extra plate on here. That might be too much weight. But also, they just had a screw head here, or an Allen head. And I added the washers to disperse that weight. Because again, listen to that. That's Chinesium. You can't just put this here. It'll not be good after about a year. You will have issues. So, anyway, this thing's got to come off yet. I don't know. My experience in Lifetime Fitness, Anytime Fitness, Snap Fitness, my other home gyms, going to random other gyms in my life, you know, I would maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's the Swiss Army knife, so it's not specifically good at any one thing. You know, it's like a Nissan GTR. You know, it's pretty good at everything. You know, but I don't know. My rating on this is like, I want to say in the sixes, like a 6.2. And I feel like I paid too much for that sort of rating to be satisfactory. The company, the guy that I've been emailing at the company, I mean, in all fairness, he's pretty good about getting back to me. He's pretty good about trying to resolve some issues. You know, I told him how these pulleys don't go down to the number one slot. And he's trying to make excuses, and he's trying to say, well, on the new gyms, we got rid of that number one. The 2 is the 1. So the 1 is up 1. So rather than 18, this would end at 17. Because they realized they kind of screwed up on that. And he said he would send me new pulleys, like this whole piece, so I could get down to 1. And he said he'd send them at no cost. So that's kind of crazy, because I also told him, you only sent me these, and like when I'm doing cross flies or anything on here, you know, you want these. You know, you don't want the tail. So I had an extra set of these without all these goofy goddamn D strings everywhere. And I just cut it off and made a regular normal D handle, because he wasn't going to send me a set. He wasn't going to send me a set of these without the tail, you know, just a regular D handle, probably $5 in shipping. They're weightless. And, you know, these cost $5.99 to $7.99 on Amazon. But he would send me a set of these sumbitches, these big metal pulleys that, you know, are heavy, require some shipping, some manufacturing. So I know that, like, it's a lot of corporate garbage that he's dealing with on his end, and I'm sure his boss is like, yeah to this and no to that, and it doesn't make sense to him either. But I did tell him that, you know, this is incredibly, like, just listen to it, you know, just look at it. It's wobbly. You don't want that. Like, I'm touching it with a finger and a thumb. And I could get this whole thing jingling like Santa Claus sleigh. It's even red. So, you know, imagine when you're, I mean, I can bench 305. I have no weight on here right now. So the heavier, you know, obviously, the more weight I put on there, the more, are we going to make it? I don't know. Put some more duct tape on it, you know. So it's just, it doesn't really give you like a sense of security. Let's just say that, you know, kind of like that car you had in high school. You know, I mean, if you grew up like me, you know, your first car, you didn't really want to take that on a road trip to California because you kind of knew what was going to happen. And that's kind of how I feel when I'm doing squats on this. Like, I'm not in the right frame of mind to be working out when I'm worried the whole time that these stinking dumbass hooks are going to hook again, you know, or clank. And and like when I rotate this forward to unhook it, the weight starts spinning forward, and then this wants to spin more. And then when I want to rotate this bar back, it's not a free rotation separate from that. I know it's like I can get these to spin right now, and then this bar isn't spinning, but when I unhook this, it wants to be all one. So then when you, like, let's say you're trying to max out and you're like, oh, I got to get it hooked. Like, you have to spin you have to get these to spin to get that to hook. So you're fighting, you're not just spinning this tiny little bar anymore, you know, like that big around, you know what I'm saying? You're now having to like rotate these wheels. I'm going to call them wheels because that's what they are. They're on the end of this axle, and that's a lot. Just like on a car, you know, if you've ever owned a truck or any kind of car and you put the great big tires on it, the goddamn car is slow as piss now because you're trying to rotate that huge circumference of that wheel. And so now when you're maxing out, I don't max out anymore. So that since I've gotten this, I've just put my weights lower and I'm just doing like a maintenance workout, which, Jesus Moses, really? So, you know, I'm not here to maintenance. I'm not 78 years old. But yeah, and then you have, these are heavy, you know, they're called weights by definition. So it's not like a lightweight aluminum rim on a Honda Civic. You are actually trying to get these to, I'm going to grab this so you kind of can get an idea of what I'm talking about. And let's see, I'll put this on the bench. Let me just see if I can't zoom in a little here. And you can see, hopefully that doesn't tip over. Is it still recording? Oh yeah. So, let's see. I'll get under here. See those wheels spinning? See, they don't stay still. Like on another Smith machine, when I rotate this bar back and forth, these don't move. This is completely, I know right now, you know, they're, it's not like it's connected, but they refuse to stay still. So when I unhook the bar and I spin it forward to get the hooks up, the weights spin now and it wants to like, see, and now if there's a heavy spot on the weight, it wants to spin back. Gravity is pulling the weight, and then that wants to spin this bar on your neck. So it's like, oh fuck, you know, what the? So now, here we go. See, they're spinning. And so then when I want to get it hooked, I gotta get the whole momentum to get the hook back onto that peg. That's the most annoying thing about this machine. like if it wobbled like it does, this thing wobbles like a drunk at 3 a.m. Let me just tell you that. But if this is just backwards. And I think on the cheaper, I think on all of the cheaper Smith machines, the hook mechanism is on the bar. And that is, that's like taxing people into wealth. That just don't make sense. So the hooks, don't ever buy a Smith machine where the hook is on the bar. Always get a Smith machine where the peg is on the bar and you're just dropping the peg into a hook that's on the machine. This design, ridiculous, retarded. And so then, you know, to get, when you're forward lifting and you got the hook out here and now you're going up and down and you're lifting, now you're like, oh my God, I'm tired, I can't even do one more. And now you have to fight to get the hook back because it's fighting you. It doesn't want to go. It wants, you have to get the whole weights moving. You got to get them spinning back to get the hook back. I don't know how much more I can explain that. That's the most annoying thing about this machine. You know, I was hoping like maybe, you know what, I don't know. I was hoping like that would loosen up or become more like, you know, easy, or like I wouldn't have to deal with that anymore. Like some bearings would loosen up. I've got everything greased. I've got everything oiled. I put tons of oil that came with it in everything. It won't quit doing that. So anyway, I would say, let me just zoom out here. I would say, yeah, like 6'2", 6'3", maybe, as far as what I think of it, total quality, total experience. You know, like I could say, like, they don't go down to one, the pulleys, the cable fly thing. You know, I call it a cable fly. I know they're not quite that far apart, but they're far enough apart. I love those. My old machine just had one in the center, and that kind of sucked. You know, and like, I'll leave both hooked up so I can run this all the way down and I can do bicep curls on one, and then I can run it all the way up and I can do my tricep pull downs. And I'm not having to really unclip and unhook every time. So I like, you know, if you're with the 2-for-1, that's fine. If you want 1-for-1, you hook these together onto one piece. So there's a lot of cool shit going on here. You know, I can do my rows at the bottom, and then I can just click, 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 and do my biceps or whatever, you know, and leave a couple of different attachments hooked up at the same time. You know, if I'm doing those rows, I will click both pulleys onto that because that whole stack only weighs 198. So you kind of want 1-for-1 for that. And it's still like, at that point, it's borderline, you know. But so there are some awesome things. You know, if you took all the categories and you took all the ratings, I feel like the storage is a little bit limited. There should have been one more weight horn on the back. They probably did not do that because of Chinesium. But I bought these hooks from Menards and just hooked them on here. And I'm putting the lightweights on those. I'm going to get 2 more hooks down here and then just move some off of these horns because I feel like that's a lot. You know, you can kind of see I'm able to kind of wiggle that. So I don't have a lot of faith in, you know, this is just going to slowly pull through. The barbell holder right here, there's 2 bolt holes for that, right here and right here. And there's 2 on the other side. So they could have put another barbell holder over here, and a guy could put the landmine attachment barbell over there, or maybe this when I'm done with it. You know, maybe I got this gym's in my house and the in-laws are coming and I need to make room. You know, for me, I'm just leaving it all here. This thing came with it to do my landmines, and I love this attachment. It could be, it's a little long. I have it out this way. You can switch it around. You know, we were originally looking at this, like maybe they made it that long so that it would clear the weights. I don't like this angle as much. Well, my wrists don't. So I have it this way. It's a lot easier on my wrist. And I just feel like I want to leave these reviews, and I want to somehow, I don't have any video editing experience in my life, so I'm going to try to figure all that out when I put all this on YouTube. But honestly, really, the talks that I had with the guy, a lot of times every email, and then the first response is always something I did wrong. You know, I mean, yes, this guy does email me and he does try to find solutions, but when I tell him about an issue, his first response is always, "Oh, you must have put it together wrong. There must be, you must have got something wrong." And then and then he's like, "Send me videos and pictures," and I'll send him videos and pictures. Like, "Oh no, yeah, that looks right. Well, I'll get this to my experts and we'll get back to you, you know." And then it's a while, and then it's always some corporate page 3 handbook response, you know, like the landmine thing. There's just one bolt, and that's on top. So everything in the world, you know, physics, everything wants to spin around and be on the bottom of that bolt so bad. And they should have put 2 bolts on that. They should have put a carrier on either side, or used the 2 bolts that are right above and below that, you know, and just had multiple attachment points, because I tighten that thing as tight, like Thor can't loosen that bolt at this point, but that's what I had to do to get that thing to stay there. And I know that's going to continue to come loose. I've already had to tighten it one more time. You know, just some feedback, you know, like what is this machine? Is it awesome? It's awesome if you're not trying to max out on your squats. It's awesome if you're not trying to max out on your bench. If you're just out here and you want to put 200 pounds on it and that's about it, you know, you're going to be okay. If you want to start lifting 300, 400, 500 pounds, this is not the machine for you. 100%. It cannot handle it. It's so wobbly and rickety. Like, I would hate to see someone get hurt. And it's just not made for that. It's engineered out of thin, like, just thin Chinesium Dodge Magnum body panels. Like, it's old recycled rusty Dodges, and then they painted it up and put some bolts on it, and you know, the cable system with the weight stacks, that works pretty well. It didn't for probably my first 3 workouts, but I was like, well, this will get broken in and the grease will flow and run and get all over everything. And it did, and it works fine now. That's great. There was an option to get larger weight stacks. I think it was like another 30 pounds on there, maybe 40. It wasn't a lot more. It was only 30 or 40 pounds more, and it was a lot of money. I want to say, I was like, no fucking way. I'm not doing it. And I kind of wish I had, because I'll max that out on a few things. And I'm just like, okay. But let's just do this. Would I buy it again? Nope. I would not. Not a chance. After it's all said and done, shipping, getting it in here, putting it together, labor, you know, I don't really want to put labor on it, because, you know, it is a gym. You are supposed to work out. So that's kind of, I was like, well, the putting it together, like a lot of people are like, oh, it's such a pain in the butt. I'm like, well, it's heavy and you're working out and you're getting a sweat on. It's a workout putting it together. So that's kind of the point, right? But I had to buy a few extra things, and I had to email the guy, and I'm easily $4,000 into this thing. And I would rather have gotten a gym membership, I think, and just spent $4,000 at the gym. Unfortunately, like I think Lifetime Fitness is like $200 a month for like the basic, you don't get anything extra gym membership right now. And so that would have only gotten me a year, a little over. I'm sorry, that would have got me 2 years, almost. And I just thought, well, I could get, a Lifetime membership, but I'm going to want to play pickleball, or I'm going to want to play, get in on some, they have like all these other packages there for other things, and I'm going to want to do some of that. So I just figured I would do this, and then I would never have a gym membership, and I would be saving money. And the hooks on the Smith bar, and the fact that you got to spin those weights on the Smith bar, is very aggravating. Now, have I never worked out with any other gym equipment in my life, and this was all I knew, I probably wouldn't have those complaints, maybe. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having power windows in cars or the internet on your phone, and then all of a sudden one day you don't have that anymore. You trade your car in, and the new car gets delivered, and you're driving down the road, and you're like, where's the button to do the window? And you're like, oh no, you got to roll it down, and you got to roll the crank down like the old-fashioned cars. That might be a little annoying and just drive a guy nuts. Whereas, somebody who grew up in the 60s is like, and never bought a new car, they're like, what are you talking about? So my complaints may only just be my complaints. You guys might not, you might listen to this and be like, what the hell, buddy? So am I nitpicking? Maybe some of you would say, yeah. But if I could have all my money back and go back to my old machine, see, that's the thing though, I wouldn't know this. So I think the learning experience that is life is that unfortunately, when things are too good to be true, they're usually too good to be true. So the price on this, compared to some other units and what it did and how tall it was, and it had a few more functions, and it came with this plate, and I paid extra for the awesome bench, but they gave me a deal on it because it was Black Friday, and it was Black Friday, so they threw in all the other attachments and blah blah blah, and it was like, whoa, this is gonna be awesome, I'm so excited. And it's very much like online dating. The pictures online were different than what actually showed up. So I guess that's kind of the thing. If you notice, all the pulleys are on the outside of the machine, every pulley. And if you go to the website, these pulleys are all inside of there. You can't see any strings, you can't see any pulleys. It looks very like high quality gym tech stuff. And then the one that you get, the one they send you, is you got all these pulleys right on the outside, so on the internet, on the Landmark Athletic webpage, these pulleys are hidden in here, and the strings are coming down, or the cables are coming down center, and all of that's hidden by all the cool body panels and stuff. And then the one you get is not. So, do I care? I just want to move some weights around, right? And I just don't want it to be wobbly. So did I care about that? I was surprised, and I was like, whatever. That's kind of chintzy. You made like the demo model all cool and sleek. And then the one you send us is, not so much. Listen to that. Whew, I can't even imagine. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess my whole thing for this video is that you guys would maybe just take a second guess before you order anything from Landmark, because they didn't have anything marked, so you have to be really good at like putting Legos and stuff like that together. That's got to be your strong point, and like building IKEA furniture without using any of the manual. So if you're good with that, this will go together, no problem. If you're not good with that and you really need step-by-step directions, just don't order anything from Landmark. because they really dropped the ball on that. I mean, they didn't even arrive to the game on that one. He did send me a video of how to run the cables through the machine. But again, I'm pretty good at all this stuff, I feel, and I ran just to test how good I am and if I could just keep bragging about that or not. I ran the cables, and then I opened his video, and I did it right. So I didn't need the video. However, I did open that up and watch that video link that he emailed me before I finalized all of the, okay, we're done with the cables, let's tighten every bolt and move to the next step kind of thing. I just used that as like some reassurance. So did I need it? No. Did I use it? Yes. Did I put the machine together correctly? Yes. Did I add washers and things like that along the way to help with fail points? Yes. Did I torque everything to specifics? There are no specific torque settings, but I got everything as tight as possible, breaking my bit on that bolt right there. I cannot stress enough to only buy, like if you're looking at, and I'm sorry to say it, but if you're looking at any gym equipment, do not get the hook on the Smith bar. Definitely get a system, like look at the hoist systems. I say that name because I sold that and replaced it with this. And my hoist had all the hooks on the machine and the peg was on the Smith bar. And that's the only way to fly. I mean, that right there is your power windows versus crank windows, or your Bluetooth stereo versus AM radio. That's a big difference. And you won't notice it until you're trying to max out, or you're trying to get that one last rep in, or you're trying to see what you got today. I did 10, I did 11, I did 12. Can I get to 15? You know, your favorite song's on, you're feeling it, that cup of coffee's hitting, and this ruins that. That's where this, to me, ruins a proper workout. It just does. You can't get it in on this. This is more for a guy who's, you know, maybe out here with his girlfriend or his kids, and you're just farting around and you're lifting weights and you're, you know, maybe in a year or two going to look a little different. But I'm trying to lift some freaking weights when I'm out here. You know, I don't have all the time in the world to come out here and be doing 40 sets of nothing on this rickety machine over a course of, you know, 3-4 years and hopefully see some gains at some point. You know, I'm not, that's not me. You know, I'm not in my 70s. This would be a great maintenance machine for someone in their 70s maybe, or a guy and a girl, or kids, you know, just to have something, you know, between going to the gym. You know, maybe you're rich and you just have this as a backup for Christmas Day when the gym is closed, or the, you know, it's snowed a foot and you can't get into the gym. Oh, thank God I got that old Chinesium Landmark Athletics W, the wobble down in the basement. I'll just go use that today, you know, and dust off some cabin blues or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do here. It's really good in some things. Basically the cables, and then outside of the cables, not so much. And the pull-up thing, that's, you know, the pull-up bar is really high. I like that, but I don't know. I would look at other brands. For me, for what I know, if anybody in the world wanted to come and buy this off of me, like I say, I'll give you the weights it came with. I'm keeping my weights. You can have it for $3,000. I'm gonna lose about $700-800 on that, and then I'm gonna go get a different system. And so that's where I'm at with it. It's brand friggin' new, you know, and I'll lose almost $1,000 just to go get something else, because that's where I'm at with it. That's my honest review right now. So, yeah, it's a big machine. It's a lot of parts. It's heavy. And it's kind of like it's kind of a thing, you know, unfortunately, it's kind of a thing where when you buy something like this, it's kind of yours now. And used gym equipment goes for pennies on the dollar. So I'm just kind of stuck with it. So I have to grow to like it, or I have to lose a ton of money and go get something else. And I think honestly, my trust in probably most systems now is pretty low. So I think it might just be I don't know, because it's kind of in the way. You know, this is my garage, you know, and I could park a car over here, you know. So it's a lifestyle, and it's you know, it's just not the life. It's just not quite what I had expected. So I'm disappointed. And yeah, that's it. I talked enough now about this. So I would definitely look at some other brands. And you know, if you want to get this, you just know a little bit more about it now. So you can still definitely order this. I'm not trying to like bash them and not have anybody order these things, because I try to talk about the positive. I try to talk about the negative. And like I say, some of these negatives might only be negatives for me. These things might not even concern you. You know, if you're a different kind of lifter, or if you're, you know, not so picky, or you haven't had a better machine and you don't know that and you haven't been there yet, you know, like if you're still eating fast food and stuff like that and you're just working out on the side, this is for you. Yeah, this is a great, like, starting to get out of the matrix kind of a thing. But then when you get a little higher up, or, you know, more down the rabbit hole, you might want something else, you know, and maybe that's it. You know, there's something for everyone. So it's just, this isn't for me. And there's no way this would be in any gym. There's no way ever you'd see this in a Snap, or any, like a Lifetime, or Anytime Fitness. It's just not gym quality. It's rickety and wobbly. I mean, you heard it. You know, it's not. It just yeah. I don't know. It's just not quite what it could be. Thicker metal would be the best. So yeah. Okay. All right.